Hey everyone, Fina here from Fina Reads. Welcome. Did you see this? Wait, what's going on here? Hey, wait. Oh my god, I'm so glad you guys are here. Please, I'm sorry to interrupt this, but I really need your help. You see, Roland over there, he found the Dark Man and they're climbing up the tower now, and I'm really worried about Roland. There's a way you can help. You can join Team Eddie and then read all the books with all the prompts for the readathon, and then he can get him. And I really hope you help us. Josephine and your guys as well will tell you everything you guys need to know. I'll send you over everything right now, but thank you so much for helping Roland. Well, you heard the girl. Let's prep for Readathon in October. First, I want to tell you a little bit about the Readathon and what you need to know, and then I'll talk with you about the prompts, and we'll give you some recommendation for the prompts and what books you could read for the individual prompts. I put chapters down below in case you want to jump over certain parts of the video. And then I hope after all of this, you're going to sign up for Team Eddie! Yay! And join the Readathon over at the Bookish Discord. Okay, so first of all, what is even going on, right? The Chapter Conundrum and the Bookish Drummer organized their October Stephen King themed readathon. First of all, you do not need to read Stephen King books in order to participate in the readathon, well, except for one prompt, but I will talk about that in the prompt section. But generally speaking, you can read whatever you want as long as it fits the prompt. Stacy and Jake always put so much work in these readathons, and there are so many graphics and all the rules are described in detail, and you can find all of that in the Bookish Drummer Discord. I leave the link down below, and I also leave the link down below for the sign-up form. This time around, the team you sign up for in the sign up form is the team you will end up in. We have 4 teams, starting with Jake, who is the team captain of Team Jake. Then we have Ian from Ian the Raider, who is the team captain of Oi the Billy Bumbler. We have Amanda, who is the team captain of Team Susanna. And then myself, and I'm team captain of Team Eddie, if that was not obvious quite yet. If you've joined the Bookish Drummer Readathon before, you know usually there's something with attacking teams. That's not the case this time. This time around, it's really all about reading as much as you can so you help Roland climb the tower, and the team that ends up with the most points is the winner, obviously. Another cool thing this time is you get extra points for longer books you're reading, because a lot of you probably are reading some sort of Stormlight book, and we wanted to make sure that you can still do that while joining the readathon. So bigger books get more points. The next interesting thing, and a change to past readathons, is that we allow graphic novels and mangas now. While they don't get the points for the extra pages, so if you read, I don't know, a 500-page graphic novel, you're not getting extra points for that. I have a visitor. That's in a nutshell. It's pretty straightforward. Stacy and Jake always do an amazing job to make it as easy as possible by providing a bunch of information. All right, let's talk about the prompts. Since it is Dark Tower themed, it is about climbing the Dark Tower, and the higher up you are, the more difficult it gets, right? That's exactly how the points and the prompts are structured as well. So the higher the prompt number, the more difficult it is, and the more points you will get for that. What do I mean with that? Well, let's talk to the prompts. I will also talk a little bit about which books could work for those prompts. So let's just jump right on into that part. Prompts 1 till 3 are worth 50 points each, and the first one is very easy. It's All Things Serve the Beam or All Things Serve the Readathon, so you can read literally any book you want. Prompt number 2 is The Wastelands, read a spooky book. We're in spooky season, so of course we had to have a spooky book prompt in there. I just put out a video where I talked about some spooky books that are specifically geared for scaredy cats that want to try horror, so if you are a scaredy cat like me, feel free to take any of these books that I mentioned over there. Other than that, I can highly recommend Wonderland by Zoe Stage or Horror Store by Grady Hendrix if you want something a little bit more silly. Prompt number 3 is the drawing of the 3. Read a book in a trilogy. Especially in fantasy and sci-fi, there are so many trilogies out there that you can pick anything from. For example, the Risen Kingdom trilogy by Curtis Craddock that starts with Alchemy of Mask and Mirrors, one of my favorite trilogies. This is also a great prompt if you are in the middle of a bunch of trilogies. Pick one so you can finally continue your series. The next 3 prompts are worth 100 points each, starting with prompt number 4, Wizard and Glass, read a book with a magic user. That can be a witch, a sorcerer, a magician, any of that. My recommendations here would be A Nameless Witch by Ailey Martinez if you are looking for something more funny. Any of the Witcher books work really well, right? Or things like Dresden Files or Eric Carter if you prefer something more urban fantasy. Prompt number 5 is Oi the Billy Bumbler. It's read a book with an animal companion. For this one, the Nameless Witch would work as well because she has a duck as an animal companion. Or, of course, my favorite book series of all time, the Green Rider series would work because they all have companion horses. And then prompt number 6 is There Are Other Worlds Than These. Read a book that is not set on Earth. And that means not on Earth as in a different planet or a fantasy world. A couple of sci-fi books that I could recommend for this prompt are Children of Time, The Martian Chronicles by Ray Bradbury, or one of my favorite series, the Foundation Trilogy by Isaac Asimov. Prompts 7 till 9 are worth 150 points each, starting with Jake. Read a Jake favorite. That's actually a really fun prompt, I find. Don't worry, you don't have to bother Jake all the time. Stacy and Jake actually made it very easy. They put the Goodreads link for Jake's in the past read books up, so you can just click on the link and then sort it by his average rating, and all the 5-star and 4-star books are the ones that fall into this prompt. Just to give you some ideas, anything A Song in Ice and Fire, anything Stormlight, anything Zoe Stage, or if you're looking for a graphic novel that you want to read as part of this prompt, Hyperbole and a Half is one of his favorites. Prompt 8 is Quartet, read a Discord buddy read. And if you've ever been on the Bookish Drama Discord, you know there are always a lot of buddy reads to choose from. The Thrill Chill Kill book club pick is Extreme Makeover in October. The Ray Bradbury book is October Country. They're in the middle of a bunch of read-alongs where they're in various stages of the book. So if you already were part of any of those, you know, you just continue reading them. And then you already have a book for this prompt. Prompt number 9, you have forgotten the face of your father. Read a book featuring a dysfunctional family. And if A Song of Ice and Fire is not a dysfunctional family, then I don't know anymore. But if you don't want to get into big chunkers, another one that I can recommend is The Chronicles of the Wolf Queen, with Wolfen of Oren-Yaro being the first one. Very character-driven, very dysfunctional family. Prompt 10, 11, and 12 are worth 200 points each. Starting with prompt 10, The World Has Moved On. Read a book with a setting that is dystopian, post-apocalyptic, or cataclysmic. So a very sci-fi heavy prompt. But there are some really cool books here. The Long Walk by Stephen King would be one. Another book that I can highly recommend is Aestus by S.C. Atwell. That one gives you a nice chunk of points because it's an over 700 page book. But it reads super fast because it is a bit more romance heavy, fast paced, really easy to read. The next is Rubicide by O.R. Lear. That is a bit more in the near distant future, with some cool things happening with an exploded moon and moon dust falling down on Earth. Highly recommend. Prompt number 11 is yours truly, Team Eddie. Read a book featuring a brotherhood or a bromance. And the first one that came to mind here was The Grey Coats, which Trader's Blade is the first book. Talk about a bromance right there. If you're looking for a non-fantasy rec, I can highly recommend Sons of Rome, which is a historical fiction. It's also a trilogy. But those two main characters, oh my god, it was so good to watch them and to follow them along. Prompt number 12 is The Wind Through the Keyhole. Read a short story or a novella collection, which can be The Wind Through the Keyhole. It's not technically a short story collection, but there are enough shorter stories that kind of are stories within stories, whatever, that would work. Arabian Nights would work very well. Talender's Guest by Charles McGrary would work very well. Any Sean Speakerman Unfettered books would work amazingly. I mean, there's so many great short story collections out there across all genres. The next 3 prompts are worth 250 points, starting with number 13, Randall Flagg. Read a book that is part of a larger universe. And what that means is if the author wrote multiple series or multiple books in that same universe. So think something like The Cosmere, that is part of a bunch of his trilogies or longer series. Think of The Dark Tower, where a lot of the books that are not part of the Dark Tower series also have characters that show up in the Dark Tower series. If you're looking for more an indie recommendation, I can recommend Project AO. There are 3 different series that all started, and they have characters that cross the different individual series. Oh, and if you're looking for a graphic novel, Heartstopper by Alice Oseman would work really well here because she not only wrote the Heartstopper series, but she has a bunch of books with characters from the Heartstopper series that are separate from that main series. Prompt number 14 is The Dark Tower itself. Read an author's magnum opus, so his most famous work. So, The Dark Tower by Stephen King. And by the way, you don't have to read the entire series of that author. but one book of that series or one book of the author that they were famous for. And again, Cosme would fit very well in here. Anything Dark Tower related. A Song of Ice and Fire would work really well here, of course. Or if you want to go into a different genre, if you haven't read Dan Brown yet, his Illuminati and Angels and Demons series is his magnum opus. He wrote a couple of other books that have nothing to do with that series. And the last prompt that is worth 250 points is Roland the Gunslinger. Read a book with a main character that's either an anti-hero or morally gray. Gosh golly, there are so many books that have morally gray characters or that are considered grimdark, especially since it seems to be a trend nowadays. There's so many more books coming out that are kind of grimdark and have morally gray characters. Oh my god, there's such a long list, like I don't even know where to start putting these somehow. Prompt 16, 17, and 18 are worth 300 points each. We're starting with prompt number 16, which is Song of Susanna. Read a book that somehow relates to music. That was a bit more tricky for me, but I found some. Starting with the V.E. Schwab duology that I'm blanking on the name right now. The cover is right here. Then there's the book Kingdom of Back, which was very popular on BookTube a couple of years ago. Since you can read any genre, right? Any biography or autobiography from a musician would work really well here. Prompt number 17, Crimson King. Read a book featuring corrupt royalty or leadership. Also here, my brain is blanking on specific examples, but fantasy is full of corrupt leadership, corrupt royalty for that matter. But similar to the music prompt, what works well here as well is a non-fiction book that is about a corrupt leader or something that tells a story of someone fleeing, for example, from North Korea, which, you know, is led by a corrupt leader. Number 18, Wolves of the Kala. Read a book featuring a kidnapping. And that can be any kind of napping other than the sleeping kind. So if it's a pet napping or a grown-up person napping or a kid, it doesn't matter. Two books that come to mind here is one, The Chain, or Behind Closed Doors. Just know on this one there's some animal abuse in there. And the final prompt, the big prompt of this readathon that is worth 400 freaking points is Long Days and Pleasant Nights. Read a long Stephen King book. And that's the only prompt where you're really required to read a King book. All the other ones you can read whatever you want. It doesn't have to be King. To make it easy here as well, Stacy and Jake put together a list of all the books that fit the page count and the audiobook hour count to fit into this prompt. There's a long list over at the Discord channel, so you can read through which one you want to pick. As a hint, Under the Dome would be one of those books, and we're actually doing a big buddy read for that book on the Discord as well. So you're welcome to join us there, and then you use this big chunker that is also over 1,000 pages, so gives you not just the most points for the prompts, but also the most points for the number of pages, because 1,000 pages plus gives you the highest page point bonus. And I really need to stop talking now because I clearly can't anymore. Thankfully, that's it. Those are the 19 prompts of the readathon. Don't forget to sign up. We're starting on October 1st, so you need to have signed up before. Don't forget to sign up for Team Eddie as you're signing up. Of course, you can pick whichever team you want. I would love to have you on my team though, of course. And then I hope I see you over in the team channel and with my next video, of course. Till then, have a great rest of your day. Bye!